Let me pull up this story we got from the Daily Mail. Austrian clinic that ships abortion pills to the U.S. claims it has received thousands of calls from women, especially in southern states, wanting to stock up on the drug after SCOTUS's Roe v. Wade ruling was leaked. You know what's crazy about this? In the bill the Democrats tried to pass, it says there can be no restrictions on abortion via telemedicine. I was like, how do you do abortion over the phone? They prescribe you pills to terminate the pregnancy. I wonder what's going to happen, seriously, with the illegal distribution of abortion pills. I mean, people are going to do it. Women are going to, they're doing it now already. Is the government going to send out, state troopers or federal police to go and arrest these women for ordering stuff? Are abortion pills going to be treated like crack cocaine or something?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure what the exact surrounding legislation is going to be. I know according to some figures I've seen, there was as much as a 60% decline in the rate of abortions in Texas. So we know that restrictions will prevent them from occurring in some number of instances, and they are pretty effective. But of course, there are going to be some people who find a way around the law.
Yeah, and of those, what do we say, 60% reduction?
That's what I saw. Those are the numbers I saw.
A lot of those just might be unreported abortions happening now that aren't being reported.
Or, they go to a neighboring state.
Numerically, it can be tricky.
Let's have the feminist triggering conversation. Should men be allowed to abort their paternal responsibilities in a world in which there's unfettered abortion? So let me phrase. Obviously, I think the more conservative people would say, no, fathers should not abandon their kids. Under the pretext that women do, let's say the law is passed, abortion up to 9 months is legal, would you also need to codify that men could be like, I hereby abort my responsibility?
I mean,
Lydia, as a woman.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure about that. I was just thinking about that. That is an interesting question. I do think that if a mother has the right, so-called, from the emanations and penumbras of the Constitution to execute their poor unborn child, that a father should definitely have some say in whether he has to support a baby. I don't know.
The idea is if it's like my body, my choice, and it's like, okay, if you then choose to have a baby and you could choose not to, which means killing the baby, then it is much less morally ambiguous for a father to say, I choose not to have a baby, because he's not killing it at that point.
Well, right? I think what's absolutely true about this is when something like abortion is legalized and normalized, you do see a breakdown of the family. So if a woman does not have the obligation to care for her own unborn child, what obligation does a man have to care for his child? And I think that there's a sort of consistency there, but then I would also say that it's a consistency towards the direction of evil, and two wrongs don't make a right. Ultimately, if fathers were able to abandon their children after they impregnated a woman without there being any potential ramification or any way for her to sue for child support, we would probably see even more abortions.
But how many progressive or liberal women do you think would advocate for men having the right to say, I have nothing to do with this baby?
It's a good question.
Not many.
Yeah.
They would want the child support. They would say, you owe me money.
Well, and that's why it's so funny when liberals are, this past week have been saying, well, then if you're going to force them to have kids, then the father has to be just as involved. And all the conservatives are saying, yes, absolutely.
No, I know.
Keep arguing.
Again, it just shows just how kind of we're obviously it's not just limited to abortion. It happens with every single topic, but people just talk past each other and they don't really know what the other side actually wants.
It is the rule. It is a tendency of the right to not know the left's argument, but the rule is they typically do. And it is the rule on the left, they don't know the right's argument. That's why the left, there's this meme going around where it's like, it's a 4-panel comic where someone says, my religion says I can't do this. And the person says, good for you. Then the person says, my religion says you can't do this. And they say, F off. And I'm like, you realize that means no gay marriage in churches and no abortions at religious hospitals. Because if you're saying okay to someone who says my religion says I can't do this, no cakes for you,
yep.
no gay message cakes, no trans cakes, no abortions at religious hospitals, and no marriages at churches that say no. They clearly don't agree with that. They don't even know their own argument.